That was horrible. Should be like at 105 to that corner, but I had to brake it hard because it wasn't going to make it around. Oh well. We're probably not going to stay there either. I had to kick on the recording. I wasn't planning on recording tonight because I got an impacted tooth, but Mateus is in, so I got to record. Sony rep said I should continue recording him, and if it continues on, that they'll do something. Just got to remember to hit the replay save as well, because they want to see that, so they can take a look at it from his point of view. Because, you know, sometimes it's just that way. It looks like it's dirty, but it's not. But I mean, what he did last week was definitely dirty. That dickhead's behind me. I need 131 or better points. So I need 7th actually, but I prefer something like 4th or 5th. I'm into Viper, so I should be able to no stop the fuel, which most everybody else here, except for maybe Matthias, who's in the bet, is probably going to have fuel problems. They're probably going to have to refuel at the pit stop. Oh, shoot. I'm far enough back, I definitely need to be starting on the mediums. Most races I've been seeing, it's pretty much an even split. You're doing 9 on softs and 8 on mediums. With the Viper the way it is, I may be able to stretch my softs out for 10 laps instead of 9. I'm going to go ahead and try. This is my first run. I missed the first run of the night because I was passed out. Anybody that's running their fuel, of course I don't expect anybody running their fuel in this unless they've just not been paying attention and didn't run in the first lap race. I hear somebody back there winding it up. Sounds like a Mazda or something like that. Yeah. Burn your fuel up, psycho. Spend that extra second in the pit stop. The Supra, I think it actually kills its fuel pretty good. I don't know. I know that they've been doing some changes to it, so. Most of the other regions are running the WRX as the primary car, so that's why you're seeing all those. It doesn't have great fuel, but it does have decent fuel, and it's pretty good on its tires. So that's the benefit that it's got. Depending on how this goes, I may switch over to the WRX. I've already run a couple of laps, and it's very comparable to my time with the Viper. I was just like 100 seconds faster with the Viper. So. Well, some of that's probably just because I'm used to the Viper because I've been driving it for 2 seasons and an exhibition season. It's a standing start. Get our TCS on. Being out here, somebody's tires is probably going to start to bowl through there. This guy's going to try to shove me wide. I braked on my soft line. I am in front of you. Doesn't matter that you turn first for it. There's no way you were going to get in there before I got to the turn, so Don Quixote pulling the same stunt that he did last week. He's sticking his nose in, sticking his nose in, sticking his nose in. That time he actually hit me. Somebody off up there. somebody off behind. I was actually quite surprised. I was watching them on Europe, and apparently the British clientele have fallen down so much that they can't even get a full lobby in their nations anymore. So much for them being the top of GTS anymore. You hit me. Let him go on by because he's being an asshole. Dude, that's fucking dive of the century, big country. What the fuck was that bullshit? You were all the way behind me by 2 or 3 car lengths and you dove down in the corner. Guy behind me is not taking into account slipstream, or he's just trying to use me as a brake. It's about the fourth time he's come up and tapped me in the bumper. I mean, he's not hit me hard enough to unsettle the car, but he's going to mess up in a minute using me as his brake, and he's going to just knock me through. You don't get to pinch me down, dude. You want it on the outside, you got to go on the outside. And I gave him his fair share of the track. I was on the left-hand side of the track, and he's coming over trying to push me down into the onto the curb. Yeah, I definitely done something to this car for fuel. So we're probably not going to come out as good as I thought we were because this car is just chewing the fuel up. Oh shoot, I should have pitted there. Dude, what the fuck? Probably that Mazda that caused that, because he was behind that other guy that pushed through on me. That was definitely who caused that. Just pulled the same shit, tried to push through on me through the freaking corkscrew. Dude, what the hell? Try to catch me in the quarter panel as I was going through the freaking corkscrew. Dickhead. And he just ran me off. Say hi to Sony, motherfucker. Well, you might be interested to know that Sony's looking at Mateus. I'm supposed to record any videos that any races I'm in him with. They're going to get this one because he just ran me off in the corner, and I have to make sure and catch the replays of any races I'm in because his account's under review. They've definitely done something to the Dodge for its fuel. It is burning fuel now instead of saving it. It doesn't make any sense to what they're doing to this car because and now have it burning more fuel than turbo cars, and it's a naturally aspirated vehicle, which means it is supposed to be more fuel efficient than turbo cars. Oh, bye. That was my bad. I hope we don't get a penalty for that. SR down. The Viper's always been NA. It came out. The original model had a V8 with a turbo on it, and they couldn't make it work in the racing application, which is what SRT Labs is about. That was their racing division, and so they went to a V10, and that was normally aspirated, and that was the engine that they put on the road. That was the engine that they put on the track, and never did they put a turbo on it. But like the Group 4 car acts like it's got a turbo on it, and this car, of course, I mean, it fits with what FIA was doing to Viper as well. Last year, Viper Ram was 2019. They quit making them in 2017. And in 2019, FIA told Viper that they had to increase the weight by 3%, reduce the fuel by 2% so that it would not have as much power. So they basically put a bigger restrictor plate on it, and then that year it just bombed, and so nobody bothered. A bunch of European assholes don't like it that there was a American car that was doing well on their racetracks. They've been trying to screw with their vet for a long time. The Chevy's not buying it. I'm wondering when they're going to. I know they've already put the Hellcat into NASCAR. I'm wondering if they're going to bring that into FIA as well. Yeah, I know. That's I intend on doing that. Thoroughly unimpressed with what they've done. It was a stealth nerd to begin with. The car was fine, and then all of a sudden it was heavy, or it felt heavy, because they did some tinkering with the underworks, the camber and caster, and now the fuel's all gone. It doesn't save fuel like it was, and they still haven't calibrated the tach. No, it's not strong in the turn. I'm having to fight it through the turn. What they did it with the they adjusted the caster and camber so that it rides like a freaking boat now. The Group 4 car is still okay going through corners and stuff, but the Group 3 car is no. Doesn't ride like a short wheelbase front engine rear drive car like the Beetle and the Subaru. Yeah, even Mr. MCA is calling it a boat. That's why he's not racing in the FIA this season. So, I mean, I can show you the last time I looked at it, which was last week, or not even last week, just the other day. The Mr. MC has only run 2 races this season. Sorry, bud. There was nothing I could do. You were already sideways. Let's see if Mateus gets an SR down because they have turned the penalty system off. Yep. I don't have to worry about him in the next race. Look at his SR. He's down to an A. Alright. Let's go get some laps in. Yeah, see, so I need a 131 to beat my current low. But go over here and look at this real quick. Okay, so where is he at? He's not even in the top 25. Okay, Mr. MCA is not running in that car this season because it sucks so bad because they've done all the stealth hacks on it. Where is it at? I don't think I've ever used a Subaru. I don't have a logo. Don't have anything for it. Sort by manufacturer. Okay, so there's Volkswagen, Toyota. There you are, WRX. Yeah, I don't even have a livery for the WRX. Let's go take a look at liveries. What he doesn't understand, that what Matthias doesn't understand, is that he lives inside the United States, and he is actually violating the law because he's continually badgering people. That is considered internet bullying, and you can actually go to jail for that, and it's a felony. So if you want to have a felony on your record, continue on, Matthias, because I know you're looking because that's the reason you're doing this shit. Oh, what am I doing? This is not what I wanted to do. Got sidetracked. I need to go over here to discover. I hate the buttons on this wheel. Japan. What is it? Not the root 4. It's nothing there. Okay, that one right there. So what do we got? I got to get my glasses on so I can see just a minute. Okay, so let's see what we got here. What's this? I don't like the base color. I'm not a, not a pink guy. The old saying, only real men wear pink. Yeah, well, that's because your bitch whipped. You got some woman that's telling you what your fashion sense is. Me, I like blue and red. Or for a base color, a tan, offshell, eggshell white, right down into tan. And of course, I mean, you can't get around black because that's standard office attire. Oh, not gonna work. Let's see if there's any other ones that are actually better. No, I don't want Pikachu. Is that Subaru? Yeah. That's the VTuber. They call her the duck, and it's stuck, and it's, for her it's kind of cute, but she went to do something one night where she was doing something with her voice, and it made her sound just like Donald Duck. So just a bunch of randoms. And I don't like the background color. I think I know who that is, and I don't like her either. That was good to see. That means I know that the next race, I don't have to worry about that jerk off because he's going to be in the dirty lobby because he got an ASR. We'll just go with that one we got. So, and it was really good to see because last race, last week, he gave me 2 SR downs and put me down into A because I gotta do the delivery first, don't I? Because he brake checked me twice. So. Yeah, I thought it was active. Okay, so change livery. We gotta change the car first. That's Bugatti. We're still in B's. There's Chevy, Ferrari, Ford. I mean, look at that's ridiculous. Look at all the Fords I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 Mustang rally cars and 5 Focus rally cars. Like you really need that. And I've got 4 of the LM GT40s, 4 of the Mustang Group 3s. I only got 1 Mustang Group 4. I think that, and I think I purchased that one, but got 3 of the GT17s. A couple of the GT06s. Got the Raptor. Got a whole bunch of the N-Class cars. And don't get me wrong, I like Ford. Actually, I own Fords. That's pretty much all I've owned, except for early on when I was young. Let's see. I started off. The very first car I had was a Chevette, and that one was actually purchased for me. It was was a bomb. It The person who bought it took my check and took it down because they were tired of me using their vehicle, which is fine. And bought it out of spite because all he had to do is pull a dipstick and see that the oil had water mixed in it, and the engine blew up after 2 months, and it was $650 down the drain. It was bought at an auction. This was back in 1986, I think, 1985. After that, I got a Ford pickup truck, Ranger, 4-cylinder. And then after that, I got in the Air Force. And the first car I bought in the Air Force was a 1971 Dodge Charger with the 440 and the 6-pack and the 4-speed on the floor. And the 411 rear end. The car was so hot on the back end that it would light up the tires anytime it got wet. In fact, where I was driving at, which I was stationed in Montgomery, Alabama, it had real problems because in Montgomery, Alabama, you come out of the base and and the main drag goes right down through downtown, and you go right beside Crampton Bowl, which is what used to be the Blue Gray Bowl. I'm sure that they've shut that down because of the whole social revolution that's been going on. But Blue Gray Bowl represents North and South, and I don't know when they shut it down, but I know that I'm on national TV marching in the 1987 Blue Gray because I was in the band, and our band was tagged. There were 4 high schools, and that was our year to go to march at the Blue Gray game. Um, Primarily because we were the also one of the top ranked schools in the state for marching. But anyhow, in front of that, it was a big downhill, and then there was an uphill section, and then it started going back downhill again. But the big down, it wasn't as the second downhill wasn't as big as the first downhill. It was just a gentle slope. But you get down in that bowl where which was right in front of the lowest point of the drop off there was right in front of the stands, the entrance for these stands, and for customers. And the the reason for that was I have no idea. I mean, it was actually pretty dangerous because they have parking across the road from the stadium, and people would have to cross that at that bottom section with people coming down that hill. And this is in Alabama, where it rains all the time. So, um, but I get down to the bottom of that hill, and if it was raining, I couldn't get back out of it. I'd have to pull I'd have to pull through make a left or a right, pull through the parking lot. Stupid car, shut up. I had to make a left or a right, pull through the parking lot to be able to get out of there because on the outside of the parking lot was a much gentler slope. If I tried to go back up that hill when it was wet, the tires would just light up and it'd be gone. And that was even with posi traction. So, and then after that, let's see, I had the car after that was a 1978 Grand Prix that the guy had pulled the 6-cylinder stock engine out of it and put 350 small block in. And then the problem with that one was he just chained it down. And one day I hadn't really paid attention to what was going on with it. It was shifting when the car shifted, the engine would shift a little bit, and it caused the rear end to blow out. So I had to fix the rear end because it still had the standard 6-cylinder rear end on it that couldn't take the torque of the 8-cylinder. And then I also had to change out the transmission because it was blowing out the gears in the transmission because it was an automatic. And then after that, I had a Formula Firebird, 1978, and that one was the first car that I took onto the track. Um, that car, I bought it. It was all standard, and it had the 400 small block in it, so I didn't have to do anything to the engine except for tune it up. And guy pushed me wide and put me into the barrier and took out my front end, and um, that began an altercation that lasted for almost 2 years because I got the car fixed, and 6 months later it got wrecked again, and then somebody doing the similar thing pushed me wide, and then after that I went into a 280Z twin turbo, and had to do some. It was about a year or so before I was able to get on track because I had to get the roll bar systems and everything, and I had to get it tuned. It wasn't the standard turbos weren't up to par to be racing. So uh, it's not a Trans Am, Formula Firebird. But after the guy ran me off the road in the first accident, um, I put the engine. What happened was it busted the water main, and the engine ended up having a warp in it between the head and the block. And so I had to pull the block out, and there was too much to save. So I went and got a Trans Am engine, a 6.2 liter Trans Am engine, and put it in there. And that thing was a beast. um, in fact, I got pulled over a couple of times when I was on the road because it was set up. I mean, it had all the stuff to be on the road, the lights and everything, but it was a little bit loud. And then I had the Datsun 280, and after that, the first guy that ran me off the road in the Firebird, he pulled something similar. He Black Widowed me, hit me in the rear quarter panel and spun me around, and the car was not serviceable. It blew the front two tires, so they had to come and tow it out. And when he come off the track at the end of the race, I was waiting for him. I went with my tire iron and hit him in the helmet, and they told me I couldn't race there anymore. So, of course, I was a lot hotter of a head back then. Just wait. There's been many times that I should have been in jail because of getting into fist fights and stuff because I was just too much of a temper. We had one of those that ours was my okay. So we went we were stationed in Big Spring, Texas, and my father got stationed to Incirlik, Turkey. Uh, the Americans have an Air Force base, or they have one. I don't know if it's still there or not. Um, it's a Turkish-owned base run by military personnel with military equipment. We were stationed there in 1977. So if you know your history, 1979 was the Iran-Contra. There for about 3 months we were on 24-hour notice. What you can carry onto the back of a C5, and you're evacuated in 2 hours because uh, the Turks were worried that we were going to launch planes from that base because they had like 3 squadrons of F4s there. Uh, they were worried we were going to launch planes from that base to attack. Actually, they only at the time that it actually occurred, they were down to 1 squadron F4s and they had 2 squadrons of F-16s because the F-16s were just starting to come out. But we were going to launch an attack from that base and hit the Ayatollah because that was when the Iran-Contra stuff was going on. So they had their military sitting at the gate with their guns pointed in. Uh, we had a Gran Turismo station wagon prior to that because we had 2 dogs, big dogs, pit bulls. One of them was 125 pounds and the other one was about 100 pounds, a female. 3 kids and mother and father. So and you also had to have all the luggage for all that, toys, because we were. I think I was when we went to Turkey. I was in second grade, so that put me at 5, 6, 7. No, 4, 5, 6. Because I started school a little bit early because my birthday's in November. So in the United States, if your birthday starts after the school year, depending on how long after the school year, they will allow for you to enter school early. Mine started. My birthday was 3 months after the school year started, so there was time for me. If it had been further, they would have held me back for another year. Like in January, February, which they did to my sister. They held her back for a year. Um, so I started school. I went to kindergarten, 4th grade, which is normally is 5th grade. Um, or, I started kindergarten at 4 years old, which is normally 5 years old. It's supposed to be 5 years old to get in, but we went to Turkey. They sold the Gran Torino off. It was a Gran Torino station wagon because the fuel prices over in the Middle East at the time were they were talking it was going to cost us $18 a gallon or something like that to fill the car up, and it had a 50-gallon tank, and it burned through that pretty quickly because it had a big block engine in it. Then we traded that in for a Ford Pinto, and that car had a broken uh, the line that went between the oil sump and the oil pump had a crack in it, and it wasn't getting full pressure. And at Arkadelphia, Texas, the engine blew. So we had to spend a couple of days there while they put an engine in it. They went and got a Mustang 6-cylinder engine and put it in there. And then we drove that from there. And the reason we had to drive it was because the military wouldn't ship it from Texas to New York to be shipped overseas. So we had to drive it to New York, and then the military would ship it from there to Turkey, where we would go pick it up. And we had that while we were over in Turkey. We got back, and shortly after we got back, they traded it in for a Ford LTD station wagon. Of course, while we were over in Turkey, we didn't take the dogs because you don't take your pets overseas, because a lot of those countries, they don't do pet vaccinations. And it was, especially back then, it was a big thing. Military would take their pets overseas, and their pets would die because of some sort of disease that had been killed off here in the United States or was under control. And then after that, that was when we were in Texas. We drove that car to Alabama, and then they sold it. And my dad got they sold the big car and got a pickup truck. And my dad got a four-wheel drive Ranger, 2.3 liter V6, V4, and or was it a V4? It might have been inline four, but the 2.3 liter four-cylinder. And then my mom got a Tempo, Ford Tempo. The Tempo was the family car, and the truck was for hauling stuff around. Mostly because when we left Texas, the last time going to Alabama, just before we left Texas, the last pit bull we had died. He had cancer, and so we had to put it down because we didn't think he was going to make the trip, and he was always in pain, and so we did the humane thing, and we got small dogs once we got to Montgomery, miniature schnauzers, which my mother still to this day has miniature schnauzers. And then after the Tempo, my mother got a Mercury Cougar, 1994, 1995, I think it was. I don't know, 1984, 1985, because I graduated in '87. And I actually got to drive that car once I got my license. It was a really nice car. The problem was that it had Firestone tires on it. You come out of the base, the base we were stationed. There's two bases in Montgomery. There were, as I understand it, they closed down one of them. But they had an Air Force station and an Air Force base. We were at the Air Force station because at the time that was where the Air Force had their program design center. If it was a program on a U.S. computer that was in the Air Force, it came out of that place. That base had two exits. One of them went out onto the loop that went around the city, Montgomery, and the other one went into downtown to what was called the Atlanta Highway, US 80 or something like that, I think is what it was. If you came out on the US 80 side, you go down to and you make this left. It was I want to say it's something like 135-degree left because the road came in at an angle to the street, so you were actually not 90 degrees to the road when you came to the stop sign or stop light. And one night it was raining, and I come out of there, and I mean I wasn't even getting on it. I was just accelerating normally, and the back end decided it was going to go out, and it tried to spin around on me. Luckily, I'd learned to drive in a 4x4 Ranger, so I was capable of catching it. Because that's how my dad taught me. Was he took me in the four-wheel drive and put me out in the field and said, "Okay, go." He said, "If you get within 20 foot of the trees, you need to stop." Let's see how much better I can do with this car. See, I'll rev this one out. Goes around that corner a lot better. Gets loose on the rear end on it. Put the softs on it. Realized I was on mediums. Took a look at my timer, looked down, and was like, oh, that's why I'm on mediums. Tire's still a little bit dirty. Definitely a lot more responsive in the corners. Okay, good brakes. Still just a bit faster in the Viper, but okay, yeah, this is a much better car. Watch that corner. I feel it every time it's trying to get out from underneath me. They must have boosted the performance on this car some because it didn't used to have this much power. Every single time it wants to try to get loose on me there. Take a half a second as I come around the corner and not get on the fuel so much. That's the thing I like about the Viper there is because it can come around that corner. I can be halfway around that corner and start into the accelerator because it's just going to such a low RPM, and it'll pull it on out without spinning the tires up. weren't for the fact that the car is four-wheel drive in Group 4, I might think about taking Subaru next season, but we'll see what the BOP does. Spartan. Yep. No break in my tires, na 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 na. You got penalized right into the hole. Na 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 na. Of course, the thing is he only had 440 points. I'm not 558, so I thought he was ahead of me, but he probably went to the first race as well and already had this week's, the fourth week's tally. Don't you crap out on me, internet. Okay. Alright, so what are we taking now? 177 points possible. I gotta get 131. It's not how you do that. Alright, let's see where this goes. Car is definitely faster than the Viper was, though. I have a sneaking suspicion I wasn't getting the full potential of the Viper because I've only been driving this race, running this configuration today. I spent all day yesterday and day before yesterday pretty much passed out because I had an impacted tooth. At one point I had a golf ball hanging outside of my face. was holding me back a little bit. Kept having to lift off to keep from getting into his butt. See if I can't get a clean lap now. And it didn't help. I had the guy behind me that was catching up on us because the guy in front was holding us up. Fifth place, let's see if that holds. 1, 2, 3. Only 3 can pass me now. The other one's already ahead of me anyway, so. Yeah, starting in 5th. Of course, we're probably not going to get the big jump like we did last time because the Viper's a standing start is just its forte. So, and you know what? We're far enough forward. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that because I don't want people knocking me out wide in that first corner. And of course, they're probably going to do it anyway, but. Let's have a clean race. We only got one jerk off in here that I'm aware of, and that's Psycho Crowley, and he apparently he's straightened up quite a bit. The Dundo's a little on the dirty side. He proved that last race. He pushed me wide. Somebody messing up there. Started off with their foot on the accelerator. They're right at the front too, because you can hear it. You're not gonna have any fun there, buddy. Sorry. I just did that race, and that car is they have severely hurt it. Alrighty. Dude, you quit leaning all over me. You did that last race too, Astrovex. You guys are killing each other up there. The second one is that they've rammed off up there in the front. Of course, usually what that is one of them's being dirty, or the one that gets rammed off is being dirty, and somebody's finally got enough of them. Hopefully I don't get a penalty for that. I was trying to dodge him. No, dude. You don't get to pull that bullshit. I'm trying to dodge these guys in front, and you frickin' ram me off because I'm waiting so I don't get into a wreck. Yeah, I wondered about that Supra. Supras are bad about chewing their rear tires up. That corkscrew is going to get dangerous for him. Too hot into that corner. I like that setting, +1 on this car. Real even on the tire wear there. thing's really good on fuel. I'm almost to a no-stop fuel situation here. Yep, I'm not no stop fuel now as long as I keep up this pace. That person's screwed. Whatever car they're driving, I don't ever want to be in it unless it's one of those very, ×2 fuel conservation type things. Of course, a lot of that could be they just don't know how to drive the car. Still in that section where you run into those people that they don't they're fast, but they don't understand that they could be faster because they're overdriving the car, using too many RPMs, or not putting enough RPMs into it. Oh, I got these two beat. Yeah, I've got them toasted. They got to put a bunch of fuel in. Looks like I might get I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it first here. We'll see. Because Spartan was only like 8 seconds ahead of me. Maybe 9. Hit it on the next one. Yeah, it's not wanting to hold in that corner right there. And right now they're all shitting their pants. It's like, holy shit, he's still got that much fuel left. I'll put a splash in. If I take second or third, that's fine. Anyway, I got a little bit of fight fuel. Yeah, see, if I hadn't taken fuel, I'd come out ahead of him. But he's probably took on fuel, so I won't be able to fight him off. Because I'd be still saving fuel like crazy. Ground stay moment there. I got second. All I gotta do is take it. Trying to put a little bit of pressure on Spartan up there, see if he'd mess up. Definitely don't want this guy behind me catching up though. He's dirty. He's gonna get me. See if he'll let me defend or if he just rams me out of the way. Oh, I ran out of fuel? No way. Oh well, damn. I'll end up for fourth, oh well. Got paying too much attention to trying to catch up to Spartan and not paying attention to the fact that I was using a little more fuel than I thought it was. I could have easily solved that on the last lap going to a fuel map 2 and still being able to pull. And I probably would have got at least third. But fourth is okay. So what did we get? The good thing is Psycho didn't get a penalty for that, and he didn't get an SR down. So we got 155 points, which puts us up 24 points. We'll go ahead and get it. Come on, get over there. Get out of my way. Come on, get out of my way so I can see the frickin' replay button. Alright. So, I'm gonna call that. I'm bonus to the let's see, because he's gonna be in my region because he's racing with me all the time. So I'm in 14th for my region, which is Florida. And apparently he is in my main region. And I'm in 110th for the North America or USA. Let's go down here and look and see, because he'll be down here right around my area. So, oh damn, he did, no. Okay, so I'm going to add 24 points because that 131 is going to go away and it's going to be a 155. So I'm going to put 24 points on, so that's 450, 440, 451. And it doesn't look like he's got anything yet, so that'll put me ahead of him. And that's all I'm looking for. To be ahead of him after he cheated all season, ruining my races. I got 9 out of 10 races that there were at least 2 races in the night on Nations races that he ran me off the track. And I got videos for it all, so we'll see what Sony has to say about it. Like I said, I found the email and I sent the email to that rep telling him to have a look, and he said that they were looking at it and that I needed to capture the replay so they could look at that too. So it could be that there's still going to be ongoing investigation until there's enough replay footage for them to be able to act on it, but hopefully we'll see that'll be the end of him. And with that, let's see. That is the last race of the season. Oh no, we still got one more season. I thought this was round 10. It's round. No, that's manufacturers. That's why. This was round 10. This is the last race of this season for the nations. Hold on a minute. Let's see. I gotta look at something here because there's a possibility he's gonna come out ahead. Because if he gets his act together and quits being a little prick, Mateus can actually be sort of fast. So he actually has to beat 139 points. The problem is he's been a prick to so many people that there's not many people that are going to let him try to drive clean on the race. They're going to put him off the track. So I doubt he's going to beat 139 points tonight, especially considering his last race was most likely a dummy lobby because he was an ASR. And depending on how that race went, he may actually be on a downward plummet to resetting his DR. Because right now it's still showing as an ASR, so I don't know if he just quit for the night or if it's he's only put 51 miles on today, so I'm thinking he may have quit with that ASR, which means that I'm going to beat him up. That explains a lot. Argentina, expatriate in California. He's an illegal immigrant. I shouldn't say that. He may have come here legally, but he's from Argentina, and I know that Dodge, the one that I've got and even my Group 4 car when I was running the USA flag logo on it, people from Argentina and Brazil would hit me just because of my livery, because it had the American flag on it. And I brought it to Sony's attention, and I received notices that there were several people from Brazil and Argentina that received notice that they should quit perpetrating internet hate crime. But we'll see how Sony deals with him. It looks like he's quit for the night because he has an ASR and he hasn't put uh, any extra time in to bring his ASR back up. I'll go look at Kudos here in a minute. You can't do that here because Kudos doesn't load up properly in Sony's web browser. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and call that's the end of the season. Looks like I'm going to be at 451 points for the season, which will put me, if nobody else comes back up, 451 points is going to put me tied with 94th for United States. As far as my local area, right now I'm at 14th. If I go to 451, that'll put me tied with 12th. Again, ties with Blazeberry. He's a new driver for either he's a new driver or he's somebody that's been driving for PSRT and changed his name. And then you can't see my county. This is county and this is county age, county area, county age. I think I'm first here, but we'll look and see. No, I'm second. And I'm first there obviously because it's generation 50. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. We'll see you on Saturday for the last manufacturers, which is going to be Group 4 at Fuji. I have to get better than 143 points for that to gain. So I'll be looking at 500. Let's see, that'd be 446 if it's 150 minus 7. 539 points is what I'm going to end up with the season if I don't beat that. Interestingly enough, I noticed at the Monza race that the Group 4 Dodge actually has a lot more power than it appears. I was actually beating a vet down the straight, so I don't know that I didn't ever bother to check to whether he was driving the car right or not. But I was racing a vet half the race, and and I was taking him coming around the last corner going down the main straight. So, by taking him, I mean I was in front, and I start walking off and leaving him because his car wasn't able to keep up, sitting right beside me. The only way he was able to keep up was stay in my slipstream. But we'll see how the next season goes. If this is the end of the full season, which, as I understand it, there's supposed to be a third season, S3. Before the end of the official season, but I don't know how that played out because everything got sort of thrown up in a tizzy again right at the beginning of the season, and they did an extra exhibition season. If it goes on again and we're still stuck with Dodge, and I'll continue racing it out. If it just with the information that's been updated now, that the fact that the Group 2 Dodge is not very good on fuel anymore. I mean that was pretty obvious. I was almost went for a no stop in the Subaru, and I was struggling just to get the Dodge around the track, and ended up at the pit almost 2 laps short of fuel. So now it does still have its bonus. It still has the strength of coming out of corners at a rapid rate because of its low RPMs as it's coming out of the corners, and that's the natural aspect. That's the one thing that they've gotten right with that car right now so far, is the fact that natural aspiration at low RPMs is much better than a turbo car, because the turbo car doesn't have turbo at low RPMs. So, but we'll see you on Saturday. We'll see how the season goes, if they're going to continue on, if we're going into an exhibition season, and this will be the end of the official. And we'll see how things go from there. I'll be trying to keep you updated on what's going on with the Matthias thing, and see if Sony's going to give me any information like they did with Poopy Head, letting me know that they had taken administrative action on his account. So, see you later.